communities. The folks in the city, you all could have decided that you had an unsolvable problem on your hands, right? You could have done that. You could have decided that these problems were just too big and too complicated and too entrenched, and thrown your hands up and walked away. But instead, you all took a stand, a really important collaborative stand. You decided first that no family in this city should be spending a fortune on high-priced, low-quality foods because they have no other options. You decided that no child should be consigned to a life of poor health because of what neighborhood his or her family lives in. And you decided that you weren't going to just talk about the problem or wring your hands about the problems, but you were going to act. And that's precisely the kind of determination, the kind of commitment that we need. You've clearly demonstrated here in the city and in the state is that we can do what's good for our businesses and our economy while doing what's good for our kids and our families.
The name of my farm is Grzinski Ornery Farm in Coshecton Center, New York, Sullivan County, upstate in the Catskills.
How long have you been farming?
Started farming in 1976. I don't know the math. You're a college student. You can figure that one out.
I don't. And did you start farming in upstate New York, or like where did you begin farming?
I started in New Jersey, western New Jersey, northwest New Jersey, Sussex County, on rented lease ground, more as a hobby. And within the first year, it turned into a commercial enterprise. I was selling, products from the small garden that I planted. And then it wound up taking over my life. The hobby got amok, so to speak. It was in my blood. My grandfather wound up with a farm over in Bergen County, New Jersey, before the George Washington Bridge was built. He used to come across on the ferry with his horse team and a wagon load of vegetables to the Bronx Terminal Market. That's now defunct.
Where did you start farming? Like, what were the first things that you began to grow?
I just grew garden crops. The first year I put in peas, some lettuce, tomatoes, peas, beans, just general stuff, carrots, beets. And within the first year, I was growing way more than we could eat. So I started trying to sell it. When I came to the green market, it was such a wonderful experience. Before that, it had been a hard job trying to find any place to buy a couple boxes of this, that, or the other thing. And the first time I came to New York, I packed my truck up and sold out by 9 o'clock in the morning. And from that day, I started thinking, wow, there's a chance that I can actually make a living doing this. So I decided then, with my future wife, that I'd give myself 5 years of trying to build it up and see if the scale of economy would work out, or where I could actually make a living, and then that I would go buy a farm. 1982, 3 years later, we bought a farm in the Catskills. I proposed in the bean patch, and we moved upstate, started having babies, and started growing our own farm.
When we provide the right support and incentives, they're going to take the chance to invest in our communities. And when we bring fresh, healthy food to communities, what do we learn? People will buy it.
And definitely the public education and perception of the reasons to support local farms has increased dramatically. but so have the number of small local farms. So there's an increasing amount of competition, but at the same time there's been an increasing citizenship that supports us. And that can really be exhibited in 1976 when the green market, the first year of the green market, there were 6 farmers markets in the state of New York. Today there are 2,238.
Well, that's a big increase.
That are listed and increasing every year, dramatically within the last decade, the number of farmers markets. I always just wanted to be a farmer, and it's fulfilled my life. I mean, it's been so much more than I ever expected it to be. You know, not as a young kid that you really understand all of the implications, but to be a part of this growth, you know, back to small local farms has been really wonderful. It's not an easy way of life, you know, and what's kept me going through the years of extreme adversity. You know, sometimes just sheer pleasure, but at other times just outright, I mean, tough times. Has been that I haven't really approached it as a job. You know, that every day on the farm is like fun and games. You're going out and, you know, you have to be willing to go with the flow and be relaxed with it. Whatever nature throws your way, whatever the market throws your way, whatever the government throws your way, you just go with the flow. You know, the only real important thing is that you're going from your heart and you feel good about what you're doing, you know, and that keeps you going. Whether there's 8 foot of water going across the top of your farm during the middle of the growing season, or whether it's the government, you know, stealing years and years of work, you know, making a word meaningful, you know, away from you and your fellows. You know, just go with the flow.
Thank you. How often do you come to the farmers market?
At least every week, sometimes twice a week.
And what do you usually shop for?
I shop for whatever's seasonal, whatever's available in season.
For whatever's seasonal. And how do you feel like that the farmers markets impact urban areas?
Oh, I think it's a wonderful thing because we actually get healthy food without pesticides, without hormones, organically grown, and for the last 6 years, that's the only way I eat. I don't buy fruits or vegetables in the supermarket.
Really? And how do you feel like that has affected you?
Well, I feel good about it, and maybe it's making my health better. I'm assuming that.
Because you're eating more vegetables.
Yeah, well, I eat a lot of vegetables anyway, but I like to make sure that my vegetables are grown, you know, in a careful way and without all those pesticides and artificial ingredients and stuff they put in the soil.
Do you feel like New Yorkers fully take advantage of the accessibility to the farmers markets?
Unfortunately, I don't think so, because given the price point, it's sort of a middle class thing. Poorer people are not able to access the farmers market. Although many of the farmers now, within the last 2 years, are accepting food stamps.
Yeah.
But the thing about the food stamps is it doesn't go as far as it would go in a supermarket because the produce is more expensive in the farmers markets.
Do you have any advice for the farmers or for the people on how to just bridge that gap to make food more accessible?
I think it's difficult because the way in which they've chosen to grow their food is more expensive, and that, you know, their farms are smaller, so to get the value for the acreage, they obviously have to charge more. You know, the big farms in the middle of the country, which are hundreds and thousands of acres, everything is mechanized. Many of these smaller farmers don't have those types of equipment to farm. You know, they do a lot of hand farming and using small motorized tools. So, I mean, I've been to visit some of these farms, and I have a friend who has a farm upstate New York, and I actually do a market share from him. But because his suppliers and his farm also is smaller, I still need to augment it by coming to the big market here where there are more options.